Come brothers and come sisters, come weary and come strong. Come meet the man who reaps the land on which we all come on. Times come for judgment, but we ain't done nothing wrong. Good and slow, we all can sing along. Oh, John, bold and brave. He's finding us a family. Nice move. Oh, John, keep us safe.
The Far Cry franchise has been all around the world, from the plains of Africa to the peaks of Tibet. This year, it settled closer to home in the wilds of Montana, pitting you against a maniacal cult that's waging war on its neighbors to fulfill doomsday prophecies. It's a shocking premise, and every playthrough is guaranteed to be full of surprises. Whether or not you find its story believable.
Smartest thing for me to do would just be to hand you over.
When you begin, you can choose your character's gender, but unlike previous Far Cry protagonists, you never get a name. You're referred to as Deputy, or Rook, so while you'll meet some interesting characters in the fictional Hope County, the story feels removed from the player. The central villain is a zealot who calls himself the Father, and commits to his cause with a fevered intensity, but he's not as hypnotic as previous bad guys. The same goes for the rest of his family, John, Jacob, and Faith. It's still gratifying to shut down their operations, but their motives are one-dimensional, and their monologues get repetitive.
You will confess.
To dismantle the project at Eden's Gate, you'll have to raise enough resistance points in 3 different zones to bring their corresponding leaders out of hiding. Missions, events, outposts, and general demolition all move you closer to this goal. The more you level up, the harder Eden's Gate fights back, sending hit squads and fighter planes your way at later levels. This means you can explore each zone from the beginning, tending to the story at your leisure. This added freedom works because sampling side missions and exploring abandoned homes is where you'll get the best world building in the game. The letters and phone messages you find give voices to a community forced to accept that Hope County is going up in flames, as well as stories from the victims that didn't escape the cult's wrath. You get intel organically from NPCs you rescue, pointing you to more offbeat personalities with weird requests, or emergency bunkers with much-needed resources, and a few sad tales to tell. The locations in Hope County are just as fascinating as the supporting cast. It feels good to restore outposts like a struggling farm or a youth camp. Some bunkers are tricky to get into, offering practical puzzles that break up the action. Then there are specialists, 9 skilled AI companions that you can team up with to tackle most of the game's challenges. Boomer the dog can mark targets for you, Peaches the cougar can sneak up on enemies, and Herc returns from previous installments with a rocket launcher at the ready. You can then call your partners into action and issue commands, and different activities call for different specialists. You may want to let Cheeseburger the bear loose on a roadblock, or have the stealthy Jess Black tag along with her bow when quietly liberating hostages. Outside of giving you a tactical advantage, specialists have a lot to say. You unlock each partnership by completing 1 or 2 introductory missions that are tailored to each character. They'll recognize and comment on certain locations, and might say hello to other specialists or main characters when they pass by. You can also hire and summon random civilians that gradually gain abilities and have varying classes. These sidekicks add a lot of life to each task, and help make the map feel like a real place.
Here is where I am free to unleash my fire and mayhem in a pants-free, consequence-free environment.
If you'd rather have a friend join you, co-op can again be enabled for the entire campaign. You have an assortment of cosmetic options to customize your character, and while you both get all the loot, the host player carries the progression forward. Although the story doesn't contextualize the partnership, co-op makes almost everything better, especially when there's a vehicle nearby. As you sow chaos, you'll gradually complete challenges that award points you can use to buy perks. These grant classic gadgets like the wingsuit and grappling hook, upgrades to your swimming, crafting, or stealth speed, and the ability to summon 2 AI companions instead of 1. Perks also increase ammo capacity, something previously unlocked by hoarding animal pelts. Hunting prizes are now sold for cash, which you can use to buy weapons, clothes, and vehicles for air, land, or sea. Fishing is also a smart way to make money if you can find a quiet spot away from the conflict, and the new skill is required to finish a few missions and challenges. Several missions will ask you to hunt for collectibles, some of which you can buy maps for, and stunt missions unlock a very patriotic line of vehicles. As far as the map itself goes, some of the shops are spaced too far apart, and the terrain doesn't have a ton of variety compared to recent open-world games. However, the massive valley is the biggest in the series, and still crammed with things to do. If you do run out of goals, you can visit the Far Cry Arcade. The series is no stranger to user-generated content, but this mode is given much more attention than previous efforts. You can solo or co-op a string of brief levels built by Ubisoft or players in the community, challenge others in PvP, or build your own vision and share it with the world. At launch, there are assets available from Far Cry 5, Far Cry 4, Far Cry Primal, Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed 4, and Assassin's Creed Unity, with more on the way from themed updates. The scope of Far Cry Arcade is difficult to gauge at launch. There's not a lot to sift through just yet, but there are enough tools to support creative minds and curious players for a while. What works here is the brevity of each encounter, encouraging players to keep moving on to the next creation. You gain money and perk points as you level up, which also apply in the main game, so it's worth it to stop in occasionally, even if you're mostly focused on the campaign.
I'm sorry, who is this?
This is one of my deputies.
I thought you said your deputies were taken.
Well, this one wasn't. Been giving Eden's Gate a hell of a time from what I hear.
They'll look everywhere we go, but when the sinners find us, we won't hide. They'll come loud and they'll come fast, but we shoot first and we can last. Keep your rifle by your side.
Far Cry 5 will try to convince you the world is coming to an end. While the threat of the Eden's Gate cult is ever present, what we value most from our time traveling through Hope County are the individual encounters with clever quest givers, our favorite specialists, or a trusty co-op buddy. It's a shame the story unnecessarily brings things down to such a dark place, spontaneously interrupting your thrill-seeking pursuits with nothing but bad vibes. Far Cry 5 is like the 4th of July. There's some serious subject matter being considered, but the experience is mostly about blowing stuff up.
Keep your rifle by your side, singing, oh Lord, this earth was made for us, singing, oh Lord, this sinful life just ain't enough, and when I see your face, I know I must protect my place, I'll keep my rifle by my side.
Easy Allies reviews are made possible by generous viewers just like you. If you like what you see, check out patreon.com/easyallies to see our other videos, and consider becoming a patron to help us make more.